Yo people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another video. Big up your damn selves in the building. Make sure you smash up the likes every single damn time and subscribe if you are new. Chelsea versus Manchester City preview. And I must say, going into this game, there is everything that wasn't on the Monday. Like everything that you got on the Monday, you won't get here. Like in this game, it's completely contrasting. It's going to be control, it's going to be methodical, it's going to be slow paced potentially. We're going to have to pick and choose our moments, but we'll still get that space in behind. But we're going to get into all of that in this video. Before we do though, welcome Fantasy 5, ladies and gentlemen. Take a seat, don't be shy, take a seat. However, guys, before we go any further, we must big up our sponsor for today's video, Fantasy 5, a free-to-play fantasy football game. Now, here's how it works. You select 5 players each and every game week, and all you have to do is beat the predicted fantasy points target. Now, it's very simple, okay? These players and their points are based upon their ability, their position, and of course, their previous performance. I'm going to show you, first of all, how it's played and the rules. So guys, as you can see, it is easy, okay? Free to play, as I said before. I'm picking my team now, as you can see on screen. 5 players, and they have all got points targets to beat. Eze the most, 8.5 for Palace, but he is important and integral to everything they do. So I think I've got a winner there. Now, everybody else is at a 7.5, and I've gone with like goal scoring or goal contributing midfielders. Assists, you get 3 points. Goals from a midfielder, you get 5 points. Palmer's been cold. Cold Palmer has been putting in them penalties. Joe Linton is in because Bruno Guimaraes is out, and that could heap on the responsibility. And obviously Ward-Prowse is obviously always good with a set piece. So I've got logic to the mayhem. There's mayhem here, but there's also a method to the madness. Now, in terms of the playing time, you get points. In terms of the clean sheets for the defenders and the keepers, if you select them, you get points. Saves for a keeper, you get points. And like I said, penalties. You can be docked if your player misses. If you concede, if you get cards, you will be docked points as well. So very easy to see how the points are allocated, as I said on screen. And of course, you can enter. Very simple, free to play, like I said before, and those jackpots are there for anybody in any part of the world. There's a global jackpot, there's a UK and Ireland jackpot. So make sure you sign up. Link in the description, guys. Easy as you like. And of course, you're helping out the channel massively with all of the revamps that we're having, with the studio, with the guests coming in, and with obviously the extra cameras. Long day. So much appreciated. Big up your damn selves. Let's on to the video. So that was that. And now we move on to our match. And it is, like I said, massive. Listen, Chelsea versus Manchester City. We know what the history is, recent history is. Since the Champions League final, it's been 6 defeats, 8 goals conceded, no goals scored, and just pammed and pummeled in each and every competition. We played them 4 times last year, 2 times in the 3rd round of both cups, FA Cup and Carabao Cup, and knocked out immediately, emphatically. And also Cole Palmer in those games, and Alvarez, very, very good. Now Cole Palmer's with us. He comes into this game as a former Manchester City player in fine form, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how he does in this game against his old club. Hopefully we'll put down that marker and show Pep why it was wrong to let him go. The Mahrez replacement was there. And of course, you know, he has had some words to say. Now, do we think he could be in the England squad? We saw the England squad go out. Sterling didn't make it again. He's talking about Reece James potentially not making the Euros if he rejects and doesn't go into, you know, the team when called upon. Obviously, he's protecting his fitness, but the hypocrisy is insane considering that you're taking Henderson and Phillips. Phillips in particular, who does not play games. You're taking Phillips, who does not play football matches, but yet you're saying that if James doesn't... listen, this guy is just honestly just a walking, talking hypocrite. So yeah, wild from Southgate, but not my problem. But I think Cole Palmer has a sneaky shout to be involved. And I think, you know, if he keeps playing the way he's playing at the moment this season, he could very much well be in that team. And now we move on to the match, Chelsea versus Manchester City. Obviously going into this game, we know the recent record is rude, it's rubbish, it's outrageous. But this team has not suffered, and they don't have the PTSD. They don't have the trauma of those previous 6 games, which is 6 defeats, which is 8 goals conceded, which is being knocked out of the domestic cups last season, 2 for 2 in the FA and Carabao, where Cole Palmer, which is what I'm going to call him now, Cole Palmer played on that left wing and sliced and diced and was dynamic and really played very well alongside Alvarez, who was actually more of a problem to us last season than Hairline. You don't have to worry because they're going to play both of them in this match. So listen, this team is fresh. This team, most of them, is playing Man City for the first time in the Chelsea colours. So they should be a little bit naive, especially off the back of that Tottenham win. The way that we were celebrating some of those goals at the back end, right, after what was a very frustrating second half up until the goals started finally going in, with all of the soos and all of the shushing. There's so much shamelessness in this team. They're very young, you can tell. They showed their age, but listen, I like that for them. For this game, they need it. Be young, be naive, be, boisterous, just be offensive. Be very offensive. As Poch says, you are the protagonists. Do not be victims in this match. Listen, we know that we're not favourites. We know we're going up against the best team in the world, but don't act like it in a sense. Don't show them too much respect because you've still got to bring something to this fixture. What we don't want to do is lose this game 2-0 or lose this game 1-0 and have them pass us off the pitch at Stamford Bridge and just say, oh, well, at least it wasn't that bad. At least the beating wasn't that bad. Well, listen. We need points, okay? So minimum we want to point out of this game. Minimum we want to get a result. And to do that, we need to actually, offer something going forward the other way. Now, going into this game, Cole Palmer in particular, there's a subplot, okay? Let go by Pep. And now he's got a pep in his step, pardon the pun. This guy has been playing out of his skin for us since he arrived. He is setting tempo. He is setting pace. He is showing composure in the final third. He is putting his foot on the ball and having a certain aura that a certain Thabz was meant to have. And it's funny because he's almost like a Mahrez-esque type player. He's very, very cultured. He's very, very suave. Very suave. Suave. Why did I add an extra word, a letter in there? I don't know why. He's just very good on the eye. Very fun to watch. And he's bringing a lot of joy to this team. And he's hopefully bringing confidence to the others as well. He's showing that composure. Big game player. Taking those big penalties now under immense pressure. At such a young age where he didn't have a pre-season with us. There could have been all the excuses in the world for this player, but he hasn't had that. He's just gone straight in, handled business and improved our attack tenfold. And when Nkunku comes back after the international break and we have to take our time, bed him in slowly, which I think Poch will do, it's coming off the back of a big injury. And of course, Badiashile, who's back, is being eased in slowly, given his minutes against Blackburn, but not starting him from the get-go. Hopefully after the international break, he'll be starting as well because I think he's a class act. Don't think he'll start this game. But again, we want to protect our players. Once they come back, you're easing in Nkunku minutes slowly. But he's a player that will be hopefully on the same wavelength as a Cole Palmer. I definitely assume he will. And it's just another person in that attack that can play to that level and contribute immediately as we expect. So, going into the game, Cole Palmer, massive point to prove to Pep that you should have kept me. And that 45 million is not a bargain. It's not, it's not good money for Man City. It's a bargain for Chelsea. Now, so that's one subplot. The other one is of course Sterling, who, there's a picture of him and Jackson in training, and they need to pass. He needs to pass to Jackson more. I don't know, if it gives him peace of mind. Play the pass, bro. Like, please do not always avoid and assume that Jackson is not going to take his chances. Trust him a little bit. I know it's been a struggle. Palmer said it after the post match. It's been a tough start. Pochettino has come out as well and also said, listen, you got your 3 goals, but you could have had 6. There's a lot of lights on Jackson right now. That's why he probably needs that more experienced striker, potentially in January, to come in and just shoulder the burden and balance the books. Not only the price, because he was only 32 million, but also in terms of the responsibilities. And they have someone to learn off. I remember when Tammy Abraham was here, he had Giroud to learn off. When Reece James first came in, he had Aspilicueta to learn off. So I think that will help if Jackson has somebody to just provide him some competition, but also to teach. Just give him, the tools. He needs that box movement. He needs to improve his heading. There's so many things that he can learn. And I'm glad that Pochettino's kind of said, listen, you got your hat-trick, but you need to keep working. You got a lot of work to do, a long way to go. So, but yeah, for me, Sterling, if you see him, pass to him, bro. Like, it happened against Bournemouth on a 3v2 against Man City. He did assist him in the end, but just play that pass. I want to see these two improve their chemistry a hell of a lot more over the next couple of games because it's been pretty poor. We saw Jackson link up well with Mudryk in pre-season. We saw, Nkunku as well. Palmer, we haven't seen Sterling as of yet, in my opinion, really give that proper connection with Jackson as so far. But hopefully it will come in time. And we know that Sterling's a very hot and cold player. Basically, we've had to accept that. Sometimes he can skip past 3-4 players and score. Sometimes he won't play a 5-yarder. He's a hot and cold footballer. He's a Hannah Montana. The wig goes on, the wig goes off. You just never know what you're going to get. It's almost like Sanchez in goal. Going to make a big save. They're going to kick it out of play. So, but in this game, hopefully these two are on point. And I think, and I'd expect them to start, especially off the back of a hat-trick. It probably sends out the wrong message if Jackson doesn't start this game. What more, do you want? Man gets a hat-trick, kind of have to play him the next game and let him build that confidence. So, yeah, for me, I think those two will be in, and that will represent in my team. But before we move on, Cucurella as well is another one to kind of talk about. Top for tackles. For tackles, 1. For possession, 1 in the defensive third as well. Interceptions, he's 3rd. Clearances, he's 3rd. Stat line's looking good for a player that was on the cusp of going out on loan to Manchester United on the last few days of the transfer window. Man United fans were like, we don't want none of this. Chelsea fans were like, we don't want none of this. Listen, I said it at the time. Loaning him to Manchester United would have been a massive risk. This guy is better than he has shown. I'm not saying he's perfect. He clearly isn't. Going forward, as he said himself, he's got to improve. He's got to start. If he's going to be, going into the box like Marcus Alonso, actually convert your chances. Actually play your pass on time when you're running through, making that deep run in behind that 9-man line that we saw against Tottenham. But defensively, this guy's locking players up. Defensively, this guy's shutting shit down. So he's doing his job. He's not meant to be really an attack-minded fullback. It's just not his game. Is Pochettino trying to coach him and improve him in that aspect? Maybe so. Clearly looks like it. He's getting in some very dangerous positions. But I prefer him as just a lockdown left-back, defend, and invert, play a smooth on-the-ground passes and keep it moving, keep it stepping. But we'll see. I want him to start this game. I think he's the one player that deserved to start against Tottenham that didn't. I want to see a balanced back four. Centre-backs to centre-back, full-backs at full-back. That's what I hope to see. So my team, in saying all that, is Sanchez in goal. James at right back. I think James will be up against Grealish from the beginning. We saw Grealish play against Manchester United from the get-go. And then Doku come off the bench because he's still learning in terms of maybe tracking back. And, he's still, very young. Still a lot to learn in terms of the bigger games, the finer margins. But he is very threatening, very good 1v1. Now, James did signal to come off against Tottenham when we scored that second goal. He said, listen, my time's up, get gusto on. I think that'll be the same here. If Grealish is up against James, that's a nice kind of situation for James to deal with. He's not going to blitz him. He's not going to blow him out the water with the pace or, the trickery. He's going to try and play those combination passes. But then when Doku comes on last 15, 20, James on that hamstring or those injuries, you don't want him having to go again to another level. You probably bring on Gusto. And Gusto's played against him in League On. So, you've played him before. You know who he is. Handle him. Defensively at times, he's been superb. So that's how I see that right side working. A lot of changes and a lot of substitutions that you've got to keep up with on that side of the pitch. Centre back, I'm going Silva and Levi Colwill. Left back, I'm going Cucurella. Disasi misses out. And Badiashile, hopefully after the international break, can start being a serious contender to start again with the fitness really clocked up. And then obviously in midfield, you go Enzo and Caicedo. Enzo is going to have to be a really doggy performance. We know the guy can pass. We know the guy can switch play. We know the guy can create. But we need him to be having some serious tenacity and to win those tackles and to be on the ground, a bit of a destroyer alongside Caicedo, because Bernardo Silva is going to be operating in those areas. Similar to how we locked down Odegaard, we need to lock down Bernardo Silva. And that came from a team effort. It was a box midfield against Arsenal. I'd love to probably play that box midfield in this game. And this is where it gets contentious. And you guys in the comments, let me know. Against Arsenal, we played Palmer and Gallagher as double 10s. We played Sterling and Mudryk out wide. Do we do that in this game? Or do we leave Jackson up front, who's on a hat-trick with confidence? I'm leaning more towards Jackson because of the feeling and the emotion and the confidence, like I said. But from a tactical perspective, I do want some sort of box midfield to shut down any central progression from Manchester City and shove them out wide. 2 Fodens and 2 Grealishes, and then 1v1, we have to do what we have to do. So it's a tough one. But yeah, like I said, Gallagher ahead of Enzo and Caicedo, he'll be crucial. And then you've got Palmer and you've got Sterling on the wings, and then you've got Jackson up front. Let me know in the comments if you would play Mudryk from the beginning. He was very good against Arsenal. He's been very good from the start of games, more so than coming off the bench. Tottenham, pretty poor. You let me know what you think. It's a tough one, but I think I'm just edging towards Jackson purely because of what happened on Monday night. So yeah, it's a tough one, but let me know. Guys, make sure you smash up the likes. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know what your score predictions are. I've gone with a 1-1. I think it's the bare minimum in terms of like Man City are here, we're here, but I need something from the game. So I've got to go in the middle and say, listen, we're going to get something out of it. Can't go with a defeat, especially after what happened on Monday. I've got to believe that we can get something. It's not going to be easy. Backs against the wall maybe for the majority. Going to have to play on the counter, but that's no problem. We like a high line, don't we, boys? So let's see what we can cook up. But they've got great recovery defenders, and that's the key. That's why I haven't maybe leaned towards Mudryk as much, is because I don't think we're going to outpace them completely. You know, Kyle Walker, incredible recovery defender. Vardiel, incredible recovery defender. They're not slouches. Pep's not stupid. He hasn't brought in slow defenders in a high line. He's brought some pace merchants, right? So regardless, it's going to be difficult, but we'll see how we get on. Let me know how you feel about that team, guys. Let me know what your team is and your score predictions in the comments down below. And I will see you guys next time. Big up your damn selves. In a bit, people. Peace.